Hi, fourth grade. Welcome to vocabulary help for days 1 and 2 of Packet 5. Today we're going to look at the context clue vocabulary cards. So I'm going to share my screen with you real quick, and we're going to read the paragraph together, find the context, read the definitions, and I'm going to give you a little strategy for helping you with these cards. So let's look at them real quick. Okay. Here we go. All right. So we're using context clues for multiple meaning words. These are words that have more than one meaning. So here we can see right away that we have a dictionary entry with 3 vocabulary definitions. So I will actually look at the definitions before I read my paragraph because I want to kind of have in mind what kind of definitions I have. So well is going to be our word. We can see that we have it bolded and underlined all throughout the text. Well, 1, in a good or satisfactory way is definition 1. Definition 2, in good health. Definition 3, a shaft sunk in the ground to obtain water. Now let's read the paragraph together. It was the day of the big contest. Our math team had been practicing each day after school for many weeks. We were nervous, but we were ready to compete. I felt confident that our team would do well. I was ready to do my part. Which meaning of well is used in the paragraph? All right, so one way I do this is first let's find the context clues that can help us determine the meaning, and then we're going to plug in definitions because that's another easy way when working with multiple meaning words. So first let's look for some context clues. All right, so I have some context clues here. I felt confident that our team would do well. I feel like confident is a very important context clue when it comes to this definition of well. Another thing that jumps out at me is it's about a math team had been practicing each day after school. We were ready to compete. And I think another important context clue is it was the day of the big contest. So these seem to be the words that jump out at me when I look through and reread. So if it was the big day of the big contest. Our math team had been practicing each day after school for many weeks. We were nervous, but we were ready to compete. I felt confident that our team would do well. I was ready to do my part. All right, so we look at these and our choices are in a good or satisfactory way, in good health, a shaft sunk in the ground to obtain water. So think about which of these definitions would work with the context clues contest, compete, and confident. Now, if you're still not sure, another strategy we can use is to plug in the definition in the sentence and see if it makes sense. So I'm going to go through all 3 definitions. I'm going to plug it in, and you're going to decide which ones do and don't make sense, and then you'll choose the answer. I felt confident that our team would do in a good or satisfactory way. So let's say that in a better way where the words fit. I felt confident that our team would do good or satisfactory. That's one option. That's option 1, which is A. Option B is 2. So let's read that definition plugged in because definition 2 is in good health. I felt confident that our team would do good health. That is 1. That is option B. That's definition 2. Our next option is C, definition 3. Definition 3 is a shaft sunk in the ground to obtain water. I felt confident that our team would do a shaft sunk in the ground to obtain water. All right, so I want you to think about which of those made sense, which of those didn't, and then you should be able to highlight the answer using your highlighter tool right here. Any color, doesn't matter, and highlight the right answer. So now let's look at vocabulary card 2 for day 2. All right, so our vocabulary day 2 card. Now, our word in this one is pop. Now, this one's tricky because there's some tricky words I see right away that we may not know the meaning of, and that's some of our context clues. I also see something that might be very, very confusing, something that people might use on accident. So our definitions here for pop are 1, to bust. 2, a sweet, bubbly drink like cola, like Pepsi or Coke. 3, a father. So what's important in this one is that you read the whole paragraph. So I'm going to read the paragraph. We're going to talk about the context clues. We're going to talk about a mistake you might make, because you'll see one of these definition words throughout, but just because you see the words doesn't mean that's going to be the definition. Father came in from milking the cows in the barn. It was an uncommonly chilly morning, and the air from Father's breath had frozen in his beard. He'd added an extra layer of clothes to keep warm, and the buttons on his coat were ready to pop as his ample belly pressed upon them. Now, the word that's really weird and unfamiliar, something that we don't really use a lot when we talk nowadays, ample belly pressed upon them. So today during our Zoom meeting, an example I gave is that Santa Claus has an ample belly and his red coat buttons might pop against his ample belly. So what is ample? If we use the example of Santa Claus, what is Santa Claus's belly like? If we know what Santa Claus's belly is like, we know the definition for ample. All right, so he'd added an extra layer of clothes to keep warm, and the buttons on his coat were ready to pop as his ample belly pressed upon them. That's really the only context clue, and that one's tricky. So make sure you use the example I gave to try to figure out what that word means. Now we're going to try plugging the definitions in. He'd added an extra layer of clothes to keep warm, and the buttons on his coat were ready to bust as his ample belly pressed upon them. So that is choice A, definition 1. All right, so now we're going to do choice B, definition 2. We're going to plug that in. He'd added an extra layer of clothes to keep warm, and the buttons on his coat were ready to sweet, bubbly drink as his ample belly pressed upon them. That's option B, number 2. Next is option C, which is definition 3. He'd added an extra layer of clothes to keep warm, and the buttons on his clothes were ready to father as his ample belly pressed upon them. All right, that's option C, definition 3. All right, choose the best answer you can. Make sure that you share these with your teacher if they're your best work at the end of the week. Thank you so much for joining me today, 4th grade. I enjoyed working on vocabulary with you. I hope to see you soon and work a little more with you together. Don't forget our Zoom meetings every weekday from 11 to 12. Contact your teacher for the link. Thank you so much, guys. I miss you a ton, 4th grade, and all of us 4th grade teachers do. Have a great night. Bye, guys.